Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing 1860. Now we are in phase C, so we have the green tiles out here. The A trains are already gone, so basically it's phase 4, you could argue, in a standard game. The 4 trains are out and the 2 trains are gone, but it works a little different here. And we have 6 companies operating. 2 more companies, the ones down here, are now available to start in the next stock round. So yeah, let's enter the second operating round now. And this player here has now a problem to solve. It controls the IOW and the FYN, and he only has a single train. And none of the companies has the cash to buy a train. And in this game, players cannot add any money to the expenses of the company to buy a train. So in most other games there is this liability that the president has to buy a train, and that can be a good thing in some cases, but in this game that's not the case. I don't have to think about that too much. Basically what I gotta do is so first I'm gonna build track here. I cannot upgrade in this situation because you can only upgrade if you do have a train that can actually reach the tile that you want to upgrade. If you don't have that, you can't upgrade. So therefore, if you don't have a train, you cannot upgrade that train. Okay, I cannot lay tiles because yeah, I'm kind of trapped here. So basically there's nothing I can do. I just go back here and I cannot afford this train because it's 350 and I only have 200 bucks. So it's basically just one decision here. I can either buy that train and I can decide for how much I want to buy that, or I cannot buy a train at all. Now if I would not buy a train at all, what would happen is the company would now become insolvent. They don't have a train, they would become insolvent, and that would basically mean in future turns they can then simply run the topmost train here, and they kind of get about half the revenue. There is a formula how to do this, but it's kind of like half the revenue, and that would go then into the company's money, into the company's treasury, and they do this for as long until they can afford to buy a train, and then they have to buy a train. And you know what? I'm actually thinking about doing this. I think I'll let this company fall into insolvency. The reason is, if I buy the train over, I will also not have a train here, so therefore I basically lose the income of a whole operating round. And otherwise I can still continue operating this thing. And I might even considering to swallow and then maybe buy a C train here. Problem is that this train rusts on D. So yeah. I'm not sure. Another thing is, as long as this company does not own a train, when I want to sell these shares, they're only worth half the actual value here, half the market value. So that means if I would now buy the train over here and then, for example, use the $400 to buy the train here, then both of my companies would have a train, and at that point I could, for example, simply sell the shares of one of the two companies, probably that one because it has the worst train then, and simply get rid of the company. So this is now the big decision. Do I simply want to get rid of the company and kind of accept that I do not make any money this operating round, but instead I would make a ton of money by selling these shares, obviously. Would give me kind of like $1,000. Or do I want to go into insolvency and slow down a bit? Yeah, that's a tough decision here. And I think it's probably would take me about 2 turns when I use the insolvency rule and then run these trains until I actually can afford a non-permanent a new train, exactly. And that would be a non-permanent train. So I mean, I'm considering maybe going into insolvency and then using the money that I make, for example, next turn, and kind of shuffle trains with that. This is another option here. So that I would be without a train only for 1 turn, but get an additional, kind of like, I think it would be about $120 or something that I would get in 1 turn at the moment. I'm simply going to roll a die here, and I guess on a 1 to 3 I go into insolvency, and otherwise on a 4 to 6 I simply gonna buy trains over, make sure that I get a train in every company, and in the next stock round I will simply dump one of the 2 companies and then use the money and try to invest as crazy as possible. Okay, so we go into insolvency, and now that means I definitely lose this turn. I cannot, I cannot run, and you go into insolvency at the end of the turn. So you always lose this actual turn. The problem is now that this company also isn't doing too great. Okay, gotta live with that. And then we go to the CNN. Now let's see what they can do. So the CNN did upgrade this one here. They ran a train like this, skipped that one, went here to ride. They made 130, which they paid out. He follows his idea that, you know, he holds 80% of the company, so he constantly pays out. And the plan is now to use this company to help the other one. So I'm simply going to buy that 4+2 train over. And now I might not be able to get the money into this one, the $130, to upgrade this train to an E-train. I think that might not be possible. But, you know, at least as long as I don't swallow, I'm pretty sure I don't get the money in there, because even if I make the 20 bucks from this train now, which could go into the company, I would only have 120, so it's not going to be enough, I guess. And yeah, so I probably cannot upgrade it, but my goal is with this company constantly to pay out and simply not to care about anything else. I got 80%, fuck everything else. And I made a jump, and now we come to the IWNJ. The guys down here, the black ones. The Isle of Wight Newport Junction, they laid the tile here with the goal of going here. Their idea is to actually run a 3 and a 4 train. They are pretty much the only company right now which is in a good shape. And so, yeah, that's their plan. So they laid the tile, and then right now they only have a 3 train, so they kind of run also here from right all the way down here. And that means 50, they make 100 bucks. And in addition to that, 20 go into the company. And they pay out, of course. Yeah, I want to do that. So that means share value goes up 1 space and 10 for every share. So now the company will pay 350 for the next train here. Now what is kind of interesting, and that's something which is a little weird, it's the expansion rules with these additional locomotives. There are a couple of rules when it comes to the insolvency where they don't really... Well, there are some issues come up then, and they're not explained in the rules of the expansion, at least not in the all aboard rules. So maybe they are, yeah, I think maybe they are somehow in the all aboard base game. I don't think so, though. So the thing is basically, in the old expansion, in the old base game, and I don't know if that's the same in the all aboard one, there are different ways to calculate the insolvency. One would be the revenue for insolvency. One is, I think, gosh, I don't even remember, but basically it depends on the large number of the next upcoming train. And yeah, and it's kind of dependent on that. And then you also have to calculate what you do is you calculate all the halts and also all the cities, and it can be a maximum of the next upcoming number of the train, and then I think you get 20 for everything. No matter if halls or cities or towns, you simply add it all up, and if that, and the maximum, and for everything you get 20 to a maximum of the large number of the next train. I think that's how it works. I'm pretty sure about that. Now, they tell you another option is you can simply use this card, and depending on the next train, you simply will get then the value that is written here, or you can also use half the revenue. I don't know. There are a couple of, I think there are actually 3 different options in which you can do that. All of them don't perfectly match with the expansion, because the first of all, the numbers here can be quite different. Even if it's in the same phase of the game. Here you got a 2, then you have a 4 here, for example. Both are C's, so it's a little bit tricky. And also the price is different. So right now the company is in insolvency, but according to the rules, if it can buy a train, it has to. So right now the company had to buy this train, for example, for 150 bucks. And I'm going to do that. In addition to that, obviously these we have now the A, B, C trains, and we don't have no longer 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 trains. So this is also a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this card and kind of translate it to the letter. So basically the highest letter would be a G. No, it's an H. H, G, F, E, D, C. That's the rule I'm going to follow here. So right now, if this is the next available train, the guy gets 120 bucks because it's a C train. Back to the game, I'm simply gonna, it's the FYN operating. I'm gonna upgrade this one here. Place a marker and, place the dot back. And now, gosh, I'm not sure what to do here. I could buy that train for 150 bucks. So first I'm not sure if I should swallow, maybe not, I don't know. I mean, if I buy the train for 150 bucks, I'm safe for a little bit longer. When the next D train comes out, this train will go away. That's not good. So maybe I should buy me maybe another operating round for 150 bucks. So let's see, first of all I'm going to run this for 30, 80, 110, and I can add this one here, so it's 120. Sadly, not a double jump. So do I swallow or do I pay out? I'll probably pay out. I'm going to pay that out. 120 is not a lot of money to swallow. On the other hand, swallowing in this game isn't so bad because you can make multiple jumps. And I already have a lot of cash in hand here. So, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, okay, there's a long way to the share limit. We have a share limit of 21 here, so that's not the issue. On a 1 to 5, I'm going to pay it out. And it's a 2, so we're going to pay it out. He's a pretty aggressive player, so therefore that was it's very likely. So we're talking about 120, I guess. 80, yeah, that's 120, and we pay that out. The question is now, do I want to buy that train here? And I think I want to do this if I don't do it, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this guy, I don't think he's going to do it. He's not going to do it. He doesn't have the money. I don't think he's going to swallow to buy that train. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This guy here, who's operating, it's him. He's in the same position. So I don't think anybody of those guys will do it. So that means, if nobody of them does it, basically he is forced to buy a train next turn. He can either buy this one or that one, because he then has the money to buy a train. So yeah, you can either buy a train from another company, which would be allowed even if you are in insolvency, or if that's not happening, you're forced to buy the train from the train market if you have the money to do so. So that would mean I have to buy, but maybe that's not so bad. Damn, I don't know. Otherwise, I would be basically another round without a train, because I cannot afford this one. These are tough questions. You know, I feel like I want to buy that. It simply gives me more money. It's not a great train. It's a 2+5, which is a little bit odd. But I could run that from here to here and take all these small ones and then maybe run the other one down here, the 3+1. That's an interesting option. So, might consider doing that. I'm going to roll a die, and I think... yeah, I'm really not sure what to do. I think on a 1 to 4, I'm going to buy it. Okay, so I'm going to do that for 150. I mean, pretty soon this company is already kind of fucked, and that one will be too in the near future. So I might as well try to get as much money out of it as possible, and then we'll see. So I'm going to get this. Now he basically has 2 of these very cheap trains, these surplus trains that only run for a pretty short time. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and now the Newport Godsill in St. Lawrence will operate. The yellow one. And even though they were cut off here, they're actually not in such a bad shape. They can simply upgrade Ventnor, which is fine. That's a 40 space, and then they can run their 3 train. They basically can even go to Newport here, the southern area. So 30, 50, 90. It's not great, but it's not terrible, and they can also take 2 of these dots. So $20 go into the company, and then they pay out 9 per share. The BHI&R, these guys here, they ran for 80 with their 3+3 train. 30 went into the company, and they make a jump. So we're now at the end of the operating round, and we go into the stock round. And this guy has priority, got a lot of cash, enough to start a new company, if he wants to do that. The problem is, the 2 companies that are still available, they are both not really good companies. Here, I mean, they're both kind of cut off at the moment. It is possible to try to go in here, and then you can skip the token, kind of, and go that way. You can also try to go down up here somehow and connect into this one, but we've seen here how that can work out. This guy, I mean, there are options. You can try to open up this one, maybe, or try to go down here, but this is also expensive. So I don't know. I mean, and this company has a bad city. So it's not really great, these two companies. And they can only start it on a fairly low par price range from 54 to 62. Yeah. We'll see. So this guy has priority here, the second player. And now he has this company. He's got 50% of that company, which has 40 bucks. And a train that will run once more and then probably go away. I mean, it will disappear when the first D train shows up, and it has a guaranteed run, but then it's gone, and it makes 50 bucks. So honestly, ridiculous. I'm gonna get rid of this one, and I used it basically just to finance that 4 train for this company, and my plan is to basically do the same thing again with another company. So I hold 80% of these guys. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable choice. So I'm gonna dump the whole company, and I'm allowed to do this. Nobody else has shares, so nobody gets the presidency. I can sell the presidency into the bank pool. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shares. And that means I get 5 times 62, so that's 310. And I'm going to start a new company. I got a lot of cash now, maybe even too much. We'll see what this guy does, but I don't know if he will sell shares. Probably not, because he doesn't want to sell the insolvent one. He might consider selling that one, but it has 2 trains right now, so I don't think he's going to sell his shares. Otherwise, we had 2 players with a lot of cash, and we will have then a run on these remaining shares. But okay, I mean, this guy can now start one of these 2 companies. Hard to tell which one's worse. And by the way, this company now goes into receivership, so it has no director, so we're going to place that here. So what that company does from now on, it just earns revenue. And if it has no more train, it also goes into insolvency. And so it's basically the same thing as before, except that it cannot do anything. So everything that would take any decisions simply will not happen. Instead, it just swallows, and that's all that happens. Considering using probably the VYSC, it can kind of work together with these guys. So for example, I could upgrade this one in my first action. I'm the first operating in the next round. And this way I can avoid some nasty position like that. And then the company could immediately hook up next turn. So, yeah, that looks like it could be a reasonable choice. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. Makes more sense to me than this one. So I'm gonna start that one for the highest possible value, which is it only? Okay, that's 62. Yeah, so for 124 bucks, I'm gonna buy the presidency of these guys. It's a shame there are a couple of these shares of the IWNJ out there, which is a great company at the moment with 2 solid trains. But, you know, starting something is at the moment, I think, more impossible than grabbing the good shares. we need more money in this company. So we got to kind of abuse the next company. Okay, so now the player down here, player 3, he's going to start the S&C. The one down here, for him that's actually not that bad. He controls the yellow and the black one, these two. So he can try to kind of help them somehow. I mean, sometimes it's a good idea not to have 3 companies in the same space because you kind of start to block yourself. But I think, you know, maybe eventually I might get rid of one of them anyway. So therefore, I guess it's okay. And I don't have a choice anyway. So the only choice would be not to start it at all, and then someone else does it. And okay, so I'm going to start it. I'm also going to start at the highest possible value, which is, of course, 62. Okay, so all this guy can do is basically invest. He's got a lot of cash, more than 300. And yeah, I mean, all he can do is indeed simply invest in other companies. He has a problem, of course. I mean, he has more than one. First of all, these companies, he can basically not sell these shares. They're only worth half the value. So I think selling this is a pretty stupid idea. I mean, he could. It's still 55 bucks a share, but it doesn't really help him. He loses, I don't know, I mean, no, I'm not going to do that, even though I don't even know if there would be enough shares to buy for me if I sell them all. The problem is also this one here, and here I might actually consider selling them because at the moment they are worth the full value, but these 2 trains, they also won't hold forever, especially not the good one. He will sit on the 2+5 for a little longer, but we're talking about probably just 1 OR, maybe 2. So, you know, I guess this company will not see, I mean, I could swallow, but then what? Can I afford another train? Maybe a D train, but that's the most expensive non-permanent train. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to buy a new train. I might be at the limit. I don't know. The train limit is not an issue. We can buy another train if we want to. You know what? I think I'm just going to start buying other stuff. And I still can sell these depending on how things develop. The only guy who has a share of them is this one. And yeah, there's a risk that he sells it and then I lose even more. But I think it's okay for now. So I'm going to hold on to this and see if there would be interesting, if there are a lot of other interesting shares available, I might still consider selling these, but it is possible that there's basically just crap out there and then I'm kind of stuck with these. So for now, I'm going to get for these valuable ones here, IW and J. They started at 74, they're now at 78, so I'm going to grab one of the par value shares, and they make a good amount of money at the moment. Okay, and now these guys also will not continue for now buying additional shares of their newly started companies. Instead, they're going to invest in these IW and J. These are fantastic shares. Okay, so now again this player up here, and he's kind of now in the position where he thinks, okay, maybe I should have swallowed, because now I got about 200 bucks left and there's only garbage out there. It's really not a good position. I mean, this one I could grab that. It has no director, so I guess I could simply buy up the shares and eventually get the directorship. But the company is total garbage. Of these 3 or 4 companies, there's nothing left. So basically, I have the choice between that one or a new company. So I don't know, it's probably gonna be this one. At least it has a train that runs to E. Oh boy. In addition, this guy, he has to sell shares, and he's thinking about selling these shares. So kind of the question, if he sees that, maybe he should wait. If he would know that, I gotta roll a die if he sees these kind of things. So I don't know, let's say on a 1 to 4 he sees that. Nah, he doesn't see it, so he might actually buy the share now, and then this guy will sell the 3 shares. I think that's what's gonna happen here. Yeah, I think so. So he's gonna buy that share, and for 68, okay, and yeah, I mean, what else is he gonna do? So that gives him 32 back. Okay, and then it's this guy here, and he still has to buy additional shares to start the VYSC. Really, the player 2, he also has still 350 left. He needs about, he doesn't need that much money to start the VYSC. So you might also consider, maybe I'm going to start the NGSTL, or maybe I'm gonna invest in the NGSTL because it's the only company that makes money. So he's kind of in the same position. He needs to buy kind of like 3 shares or something from some other companies here. So does he see the fact that this guy will probably sell? And he actually does see it, so he will not buy these shares at the moment. Instead, he simply buys another VYSC. Okay, now this guy will sell 2 of these shares here. He doesn't want to sell the CN because it's a great company. The FYN probably will also make at least 1 turn, a lot of cash, and the NGSTL is just not performing that great. So it makes sense for him to sell these. So this goes down and he gets 136, 36, and then he's gonna buy another SC share for 62. Was it 62? Yeah, it was. There's another thing to consider in this stock round, and it's the private. I think as an action, if I'm not mistaken, you can exchange a private for one of these exchange shares. And so until now, mostly the privates were actually better than the shares themselves, but now when the first E-train is purchased, the Fishborn company becomes available. And if anyone buys the Fishborn, all the privates are closed. So that means we have only 3 trains left Well, technically 4 trains have to be purchased before the Fishborn becomes available. And then the first player who has priority, or the player who has priority, has the option to buy the Fishborn as an action in the next stock round. And then all other privates are simply gone. So this is now, the question is this now the last chance to exchange the private for the company or not? And for some people that's an interesting one. I mean, he, for example, that's the thing. This thing gives him $5. That's not, damn. So, I don't know, let me see. I mean, for example, I'm pretty sure he's gonna do it at the moment. It's worth $20, but I think he might be able to make more than 200. So for him, I think it's a pretty easy decision, because risking losing that share, I don't think it's worth it. I think he's going to do it. He's going to make that exchange now. It's just, yeah, it's just reasonable to do it, I guess. Let me calculate first if the 4 trains will be purchased. So I'm pretty sure this company will buy a train. It's insolvent. There's a good chance that they will actually buy one of the trains. Let's assume each of the new started companies will also buy a train. That means 3 trains will go away. And then we have the cheap permanent. And people usually want cheap permanent trains. So I think there's a good chance that the train will go away. It's not a safe bet, but it's not unlikely that this is going to happen. So what's definitely going to happen is this guy will exchange the Yarmouth Harbor Company. So it goes back to the bank and he gets the exchange there. Share. Okay. And for him, there's a good chance, I think, he might end up with priority. So, but on the other hand, damn, I know, you know, if you have to do this as your first action, I don't know, it's a tough, I wanna do that too. I'm gonna exchange it too. It just pays $5 per round. So these 10 additional bucks get me some additional flexibility, and they also might simply allow me to buy that Fishborn, which is not a bad company. It gives you $25. It's pretty expensive, but it's not a bad one. It's a nice investment, especially if everything else out there is crap. So therefore, I'm gonna do that, and that gives me then the exchange share here, which is bad at the moment because the company is in receivership, so it won't give me anything. But I also don't lose that much by doing it. And he's also going to do it. Although it pays $20, but this company pays a lot of money. And yeah, it's simply too risky here. But there's one thing I'm not sure about, and this is this one here. The Wright Pier and Shipping Company. The thing is, this thing would pay me $60 during the next 2 operating rounds. That's a lot of money. Right now the company is in insolvency, so it doesn't pay anything. So I basically lose 60 bucks if I now exchange it, and I get a share which doesn't even have a train. So I really don't know. You know, I might simply say, hey, I'm going to take the 60 bucks, and if somebody buys then the Fishborn, okay, I kind of lose that share, but I make the 60 bucks. So that's a tough call. This is really not easy to answer. I don't know. I mean, the company will drop down here to 90, and it's not even sure if they can buy a train then. I mean, who knows for how long these guys will be in insolvency. You know, if the trains go away quickly, I don't know. It might be another 3 or 4 turns, maybe. I'm not sure about that. I guess it's again time for a roll. Now, considering this guy plays a little more conservative, I think he tends to take the money that he can. Yeah, I think he's eager to get the money and not so. I don't know. Maybe he says, you know, actually, the fact that he plays conservative makes me think he plays for the long run and says, I probably prefer the share. So on a 1 to 4, I'm going to go with the share. Okay, I'm not. I'm going to hold the company, take the 60 bucks, and say, screw it. I don't need the share. And if I'm super lucky, maybe I get the chance, and I can exchange the company anyway. You know, it's not absolutely sure that this 4th train will be purchased, but it's likely. It's very likely, actually. Okay, so that means that the only guy who actually can do more. Oh, and actually, I just realized, because this guy, he is the one who still has cash. So I will have priority anyway. So yeah, it's basically my decision. On the other hand, buying this thing is, I don't know, could be pretty awesome too, you know, if I get, if I get the chance to buy that, I'm going to keep this thing for another 2 ORs. And now this guy, he will buy for another 62 the last share which is necessary to float the VYSC. So he now holds the 50%, and he still has about 150 bucks. Well, what is he going to do with that? Well, I mean, he can buy probably shares of these guys, I guess, for 62. Yeah, I think he's simply going to buy these 2 shares. At least it makes money. Is it? Well, that's the thing. Then everybody would kind of hold 30%, which makes it much likely that this guy, who also only holds 30%, will actually not pay out, because it doesn't give him an advantage. So he might then simply swallow twice. So maybe I should not invest in this thing. But if not, what else am I going to do? I don't know. There's not a lot left. I could try to maybe even, but I cannot really grab 40. I have to sell this one. If I want to get the presidency of that, which is an option, I could try to steal it. I had to sell one of the other shares, and I absolutely don't want to do this. So, and that's a bit of a stupid position here. Okay, so I think I simply will invest in my own company a little more. Yeah, it's not great because I basically my plan is to I wanted to kind of abuse the company, buy a train over, maybe buy 2 trains with these guys, and then buy 1 train over here. But on the other hand, it would at least run once, I guess. Huh. That's bad. I'm sitting on that cash and I don't know what to do with it. I think I'm actually going to buy a share of the S&C. That's a little weird, but I don't have a good feeling with buying another share of the NGSTL, and I also think it's not a great idea to buy another share of my own company. So maybe instead I trust the other guy more than I trust myself here. Now let's see, I get back 40 bucks. There we go. And I just realized one thing, and this is this guy. He's actually going to sell the BHRIR. There's a train in there, so he can do it for 52 bucks. And then he's got enough cash to buy a share of the NGSTL, which costs at the moment 68. So he's got to spend 17 bucks. And that gives him the presidency of that company. And although it's not a great company, but you know, he now has control, and yeah, I think that might be actually maybe not such a bad thing. And now, where not everybody is holding 30% of the same company here, which basically kind of like forces you to swallow in a certain way, I think now it's less risky to invest in this one. I'm going to do that now. Get a second share here. Now this guy got 40, this guy got 30, this guy got 20. I mean, he could still say, I'm going to swallow, I'm going to use that to kind of add to my other companies. But, you know, he paid out a lot in the last couple of turns. I think he was basically always paying out. So maybe it's not such a bad choice to do that. And I'm gonna have to spend yeah, it's okay, I guess. Yeah, sadly I have to spend a little more than it's worth, but okay, we'll see. Hope that wasn't too bad. I mean, the other option would have been simply to pass. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should pass, hold priority, and that gives me then the option to buy the Fishborn maybe. I mean, this thing is a very questionable company. It's not making a lot of cash. I don't know, it's a tough choice. I'm gonna roll a die here. On a 1 to 4, I'm gonna buy it. Okay, so I'm gonna buy it, and that means this guy holds priority. Okay, we're at the end of the stock round. I'm gonna load this up. Again, a lot of rambling here, and yeah, my 18xx playthroughs, I mean, they are like that. You know, just talking about what I'm thinking and I enjoy that this way. Okay, so I'm gonna load it up. We got to play the next operating round, and I guess we're gonna come into brown pretty soon. So hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.